Every morning, your mind wakes up before you do. It starts talking, judging, fearing, dreaming without permission. But what if you decided to take control? Because the one who masters their mind masters their life. Most people wake up each morning and let their minds run on autopilot. From the moment their eyes open, thoughts begin pouring in, unfiltered, unchosen, and often unwanted. They think about what went wrong yesterday, what could go wrong today, and what might never go right tomorrow. The mind replays old conversations, worries about unpaid bills, overanalyzes relationships, and doubts every decision. And all of this happens without permission. It's like living in a house where a radio is blasting chaos at full volume from room to room, and nobody thinks to turn it down or change the station. But what if you stopped and asked yourself, who's in control here? You or your mind? Because here's the truth. Your mind is always working. It's always creating, processing, imagining, and judging. The question is, are you directing it, or is it directing you? Most people never realize that they have the power to choose what they think. They believe thoughts just happen to them, that they're passengers in their own minds. But this belief is what keeps them stuck, repeating patterns, reliving pain, and recycling failure. The quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your day, and the quality of your day becomes the quality of your life. Greatness begins the moment you realize that you are not your thoughts. You are the thinker of thoughts. You can observe them, challenge them, reject them, and most importantly, replace them. The thoughts you accept shape your emotions, your actions, and ultimately your destiny. If you wake up and allow your mind to focus on lack, you'll feel anxious and inadequate. If you dwell on problems, your day will be filled with tension and frustration. But if you wake up and deliberately focus on purpose, on gratitude, on progress, you begin to create a different energy, a different reality. This doesn't mean you'll never have negative thoughts. They will come. The difference is you'll meet them at the door with awareness, not ignorance. You'll say, I see you, but you don't belong here today. And you'll choose a better thought. One that uplifts you. One that aligns with who you're becoming, not who you were. It's not easy at first. The mind is like a wild horse. It doesn't want to be tamed. It will resist. It will pull you back into old stories and familiar fears. But choosing your thoughts doesn't mean forcing positivity. It means choosing truth, power, and direction. It means replacing I can't with I'm learning. Replacing I'm stuck with I'm evolving. Replacing why me with what's the lesson. You become the author of your internal dialogue. You become the filter, the editor, the voice of reason. And that changes everything. Every morning offers a new opportunity to set the tone for your life. Before the world tries to shape your mindset, you shape it yourself. Through silence, through intention, through inner work. It could be 5 minutes of gratitude, or 10 minutes of affirmations, or just one powerful question. What kind of person do I choose to be today? That one question pulls you out of reaction and into creation. The truth is, most of the limitations in your life don't come from your circumstances. They come from your thinking. And when you change your thinking, you change your experience of those circumstances. Life becomes lighter. Challenges become manageable, and possibilities begin to appear where there once was only fear. You cannot build a strong life with a weak mindset, and you cannot expect peace while feeding your mind with chaos. So choose your thoughts consciously. Direct your mind like a skilled artist guides a brush. Paint a vision worth living. Because the mind is not your master, it is your servant. And the life you live tomorrow depends on the thoughts you choose today. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have. Yet most people treat it like an unruly pet, letting it wander, bark, and react to every noise. But here's the truth. Your mind is not supposed to lead you. It's supposed to serve you. Just like a hammer in the hands of a skilled carpenter can build a house, your mind can build a life of purpose, power, and success. But the same hammer in careless hands can cause destruction, and so can the mind when it's left undisciplined, misused, or handed over to fear. The mind is neutral. It doesn't care what kind of story it writes. It just writes what you feed it. It can become your greatest ally or your worst enemy, depending on whether you're using it or being used by it. People often say, my thoughts just took over, as if they had no say in it. But you do. You always do. The difference between those who rise and those who stay stuck isn't just external circumstances. It's who controls the mind. When you master the mind, you master the outcomes. Think about it. A person who allows their mind to dwell on worst-case scenarios, past regrets, and imagined failures will never have peace, no matter how good life gets. On the other hand, someone who trains their mind to look for lessons, possibilities, and progress can remain calm even in chaos. It's not the outside world that determines your success, it's how you think about it. The world may offer challenges, but your mind decides whether those challenges defeat you or define you. Discipline is the key that turns your mind from a source of noise into a source of clarity. Without discipline, your thoughts are like weeds. They grow wild, fast, and often toxic. They take over your focus, your peace, and your progress. But when you treat the mind as the powerful instrument it is, you sharpen it with purpose. You train it to focus, to think critically, to find solutions instead of excuses. That's the real transformation, not changing what's outside, but reshaping how you process it internally. Your mind is not here to obsess, overthink, or worry. It's here to solve, to imagine, to create. But it will only do that if you guide it. You must become the director of the film playing in your head. Don't let it default to fear-based scripts or scenes of limitation. Choose the role you want to play and set the tone for how the story unfolds. If you let your mind dwell on failure, it will find reasons to quit. If you train it to focus on resilience, it will find strength in every obstacle. This isn't about fake positivity. It's about intelligent ownership. Owning your mind like you would any other powerful tool. You wouldn't swing a chainsaw with no training. Why would you let your most powerful asset run wild without conscious guidance? You must learn to slow it down, question it, challenge it, and above all, direct it. Use it to build, not to destroy. Use it to elevate, not to tear yourself down. Every action begins with a thought. Every habit, every decision, every achievement starts in the mind. So the condition of your mind, the way it's managed and maintained, is everything. A chaotic mind will lead to a chaotic life. A focused, disciplined mind becomes a magnet for clarity, peace, and success. You have that power right now in this very moment. You were never meant to be a servant to your mind. You were meant to be its master. You are the one who gives it commands, and with enough discipline, it will follow. When you finally decide to use your mind with intention, to pick it up like a tool, sharpen it like a blade, and point it toward your goals, everything changes. Because once you use your mind properly, nothing can use you again. Thoughts are not just passing clouds in the sky of your mind. They are the blueprints of your life. Every structure you see, every invention that changed the world, every personal transformation, every rise and every fall, it all started with a single thought. The clothes you're wearing, the phone in your hand, the building you're sitting in, all of it was once just an idea in someone's mind. That's the power of thought. It's invisible, but it builds the visible. It's quiet, but it shapes the loudest chapters of your life. What you consistently think about, you eventually become. Your dominant thoughts plant the seeds of your future. If your thoughts are constantly centered on fear, doubt, and failure, you begin to create a life that reflects that inner world. Not because fear has more power than faith, but because whatever you water with attention will grow. The mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's repeated. What you feed it daily becomes your truth. That's why someone who keeps saying, "I'm not good enough," eventually finds the evidence to support it in their reality, not because it's true, but because it became their focus. This is not some mystical law. It's a simple truth of how the mind influences behavior and behavior influences results. When you think powerful thoughts, you start to speak with confidence. You move differently. You take action. You persist. You attract people and opportunities that align with your energy. And when you think defeated thoughts, your posture shrinks. Your words become uncertain. Your decisions are hesitant, and your momentum dies before it even begins. The world around you begins to reflect the world within you. Your thoughts are like a thermostat. They set the internal temperature of your life. If your thoughts are set low, full of negativity, limitation, and fear, then even when something good enters your life, you'll find a way to lower it back to your familiar setting. You'll sabotage progress. You'll reject growth. You'll resist abundance, not because you don't want better, but because your thoughts haven't adjusted to allow better. On the flip side, when you raise your thoughts, when you think as someone who deserves success, who expects to grow, who sees every problem as a stepping stone, then you naturally rise. Even when life knocks you down, your internal setting pulls you back up. This is why your internal dialogue matters more than any external advice. You can have the best mentors, the greatest resources, and all the opportunities in the world. But if your thoughts are filled with self-doubt, you will block every blessing. You will walk away from doors that were wide open. But when your thinking shifts, when you realize that your thoughts are not just reactions but tools of creation, you start using them deliberately. You stop waiting for permission and start giving yourself direction. You stop asking, "Can I?" and start declaring, "I will." It's easy to wish for success. It's easy to want change. But you don't get what you wish for. You get what you think about consistently. Wishes are fleeting. Thoughts are persistent. And when you align your persistent thoughts with powerful beliefs and back them with action, you become unstoppable. Because thought leads to belief. Belief leads to behavior, and behavior shapes your entire destiny. Think carefully, because you're building something with every thought. You're either building fear or building faith. You're either constructing excuses or crafting execution. You're either designing a life of purpose or letting randomness create your reality. Your thoughts are not just visitors, they are builders, and the life you live is the house they built. Mental control is often misunderstood. People think it means shutting down every negative thought, pretending they don't exist, or forcing positivity at all costs. But that's not control, that's suppression. And suppression doesn't lead to strength, it leads to pressure. Trying to suppress negative thoughts is like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. You can keep it down for a while, but eventually it explodes to the surface with even more force. True mental control doesn't mean denying reality, it means becoming aware of it and choosing how to respond. The mind is constantly producing thoughts, some helpful, some harmful, some neutral. That's its nature. You cannot control the initial appearance of every thought, but you can control how long it stays. You can decide which thoughts get your attention and which ones you let pass. Just because a thought enters your mind doesn't mean it deserves your belief. And it certainly doesn't mean it defines who you are. Awareness is the first key. You can't change what you won't acknowledge. When a fearful or negative thought appears, don't resist it with force. Just observe it. Ask yourself, is this thought true? Is it useful? Is it guiding me forward or holding me back? When you bring curiosity instead of judgment, you take back your power. You shift from being a prisoner of your thoughts to being their observer. And once you observe a thought, you create space between the thought and your reaction. That space is where your power lives. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them, the watcher, the filter, the director. And just like a movie director decides which scenes make the final cut, you get to choose which thoughts stay in your mental script. You don't have to entertain every worry. You don't have to rehearse every doubt. You don't have to believe every fearful scenario your mind throws at you. You have the right and the responsibility to filter. This filtering isn't denial, it's alignment. You're aligning your focus with the kind of life you want to build. If you want peace, focus on thoughts that bring clarity, acceptance, and calm. If you want progress, focus on thoughts that ignite motivation, courage, and strategy. You don't need to eliminate all negativity to live a positive life. You just need to stop feeding it. Let the negative thoughts come, but don't serve them dinner. Acknowledge them, then redirect your energy toward what truly matters. This is where direction comes in. Once you recognize which thoughts are harmful, redirect your mind toward what is helpful. You can train your brain like a muscle. Every time you catch yourself spiraling in fear, bring your attention back to gratitude. When doubt creeps in, recall your past victories. When the voice says, "You can't," respond with, "Watch me." This isn't fake optimism, it's mental leadership. It's understanding that thoughts create emotion, and emotion fuels action. So the direction of your thoughts determines the direction of your life. You don't win the battle of the mind by silencing every negative voice. You win by refusing to let that voice drive the car. Let it talk, let it whisper. But you keep your hands on the wheel. You decide the direction. You decide the narrative. You decide the focus. That's what true control looks like. Not force, but conscious, calm leadership of your inner world. Stop trying to bury your thoughts. Start understanding them. Start choosing them. You're not fighting your mind, you're refining it. You're learning to respond instead of react. To lead instead of obey. Because in the end, your life won't be defined by the thoughts that pass through your mind, but by the ones you chose to empower. You become what you feed your mind. Just as the food you eat shapes your physical body, the information, energy, and voices you allow into your mind shape your beliefs, your habits, and ultimately your reality. Your mental diet matters. Every word you listen to, every image you see, every story you tell yourself, it all becomes the substance from which your identity is formed. Your thoughts don't come out of nowhere. They are planted, nurtured, and reinforced by what you consume daily. Think of your mind like a garden. If you leave it unattended, weeds will grow. If you feed it garbage, it will rot. But if you're intentional, if you plant seeds of wisdom, encouragement, discipline, and clarity, then over time, your mind becomes a fertile space for greatness to grow. The content you consume, the people you spend time with, the conversations you entertain, and the energy you tolerate, they are all feeding your mental state. Books, music, podcasts, social media, movies, these things aren't just entertainment. They're tools of influence. Every piece of content is planting something in your mind. Some plant courage, some plant fear, some plant power. And here's the thing, your mind doesn't reject what you repeatedly expose it to. It absorbs, it accepts, it repeats. So if you keep feeding your brain noise, drama, negativity, and comparison, don't be surprised when anxiety, envy, and confusion show up in your thoughts. You must become a gatekeeper of your mind. Not everything deserves access. Not every voice deserves to echo in your head. Not every headline needs your attention. Not every song or show belongs in your mental playlist. You have to protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. The more you guard what you let in, the more clarity and strength you'll experience within. The truth is, most people aren't tired, they're mentally malnourished. They wake up and scroll through other people's lives before they've even checked in with their own. They consume fear before breakfast, arguments before lunch, and distractions before bed. And then they wonder why their mind feels heavy, scattered, and overwhelmed. It's not a mystery, it's a result. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner state, and your inner state is shaped by your mental diet. But here's the good news. You can change what you feed your mind starting today. Start with one small choice. Choose a podcast that inspires instead of numbs. Choose a book that elevates instead of distracts. Choose silence over noise. Choose depth over drama. Feed your mind what you want your life to become. Because just like muscles grow from quality fuel and training, your confidence, clarity, and courage grow from consistent mental nourishment. Surround yourself with people who challenge your thinking, expand your vision, and speak life into your journey. Engage in conversations that build, not break. Learn from minds that have walked the path ahead of you. Be curious, be selective, be intentional, because your mind is the engine of your destiny, and what you put into it determines how far you can go. It's not about perfection, it's about direction. Every moment is a chance to choose better input. Every day is an opportunity to replace noise with wisdom, distraction with purpose, and fear with faith. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. Just start by feeding your mind something better today. Because eventually, your thoughts become beliefs, your beliefs become behavior, and your behavior becomes your life. If you want to change your life, change what you feed your mind. Choose fuel that empowers. Choose words that uplift. Choose content that aligns with the life you're building. Be the gatekeeper. Be the gardener. Be the one who refuses to let weeds grow in the soil of your future. Your thoughts are either serving you or sabotaging you. There is no neutral ground. Every thought you allow to linger in your mind is pushing you forward or pulling you backward. It's either reinforcing your purpose or undermining your progress. The mind is always active, always thinking, always creating narratives. And those narratives determine how you feel, how you act, and what you believe is possible. Every thought has a direction. It is either aligned with your goals, building your discipline, strengthening your mindset, or it's draining your energy, clouding your clarity, and feeding your fears. That's the real power of mental discipline. It's not just about forcing positivity. It's about awareness. It's about catching those quiet, creeping thoughts that say you can't, you're not enough, this is too hard, and choosing to challenge them rather than accept them as truth. You must become the observer of your thoughts, not their prisoner. Just because a thought enters your mind doesn't mean it belongs there. Just because a fear arises doesn't mean it deserves your focus. Your job is to examine what shows up in your head and ask, is this helping me or hurting me? If it's not helping, replace it. If it's not building, reframe it. That's the work. That's the discipline. Catching the saboteurs and switching the narrative before they take root. And understand this, the mind loves patterns. If you've been thinking a certain way for years, self-doubt, criticism, worry, your brain will default to those tracks because they're familiar. That doesn't mean they're right. It means they're rehearsed. But just like a bad habit, toxic thinking can be unlearned. You can rewire your mind to support your growth instead of sabotage it. It just takes intention. It takes repetition. It takes patience with yourself. Start by listening closely to the inner voice that narrates your life. What does it say when things go wrong? What does it whisper when you face a challenge? Is it lifting you or lowering you? That voice is the internal compass that sets your emotional tone. And the good news is, you can change the script. You can decide to speak to yourself like someone you believe in. You can choose thoughts that move you, not break you. Mental discipline doesn't mean ignoring hard realities. It means choosing thoughts that help you face those realities with power. It's not pretending that pain doesn't exist. It's reminding yourself that pain can shape strength. It's not lying to yourself, it's leading yourself. There's a difference. You're not escaping truth. You're choosing which truth to focus on, the one that builds your resilience or the one that feeds your excuses. Even a single empowering thought, repeated consistently, can shift your direction. One mental anchor, I am capable, I will figure this out, I'm not done yet, can interrupt a whole storm of doubt. That's how you reclaim control. That's how you realign your mindset with your mission. You don't need to win every mental battle at once. You just need to stop letting every negative thought win by default. Every time you choose a thought that serves you, you're building momentum. Every time you catch a sabotaging pattern and rewrite it, you're gaining strength. These choices compound. They build the foundation of your identity. They shape your emotional state. They influence your decisions, and your decisions shape your life. So be mindful, be intentional, be disciplined. Your thoughts are powerful. They are creating the script of your life in real time. Choose thoughts that align with your purpose. Choose thoughts that lift you toward your vision. Because if you don't choose them, they will be chosen for you. And you can't afford to let your future be dictated by the autopilot of self-doubt and fear. Your mind is a tool. Use it wisely. Think thoughts that serve you, and you will begin to see a life that reflects them. The greatest battle you will ever fight won't be with the world. It will be with your own thoughts. Your mind can be your most loyal ally or your greatest enemy. But that decision is in your hands. You are not at the mercy of your mind. You are the master of it. And once you realize that, everything changes. You begin to see that your thoughts are not random visitors. They're choices. Every thought you entertain is a step toward the life you desire or the one you fear. And when you choose with awareness, when you consciously direct your mental energy, you step into power. Real power. The kind that doesn't need noise to be felt. The kind that's rooted in calm, focused, and disciplined thought. It's not about never having negative thoughts. It's about recognizing them, questioning them, and choosing differently. It's about training your mind like a muscle, daily, patiently, purposefully, until positivity becomes your default, clarity becomes your compass, and vision becomes your lifestyle. Because you become what you consistently think. Not what you say you want, not what you hope for, but what you think, feel, and act upon every day. So if you want to change your life, don't just change your habits, change your thoughts. Master your mind and your life will follow. You are not your past. You are not your fears. You are not your limits. You are the thinker of your thoughts, the author of your next chapter. So write it with purpose. Think on purpose and live on purpose.